Momma Braga, força do coração. Momma Braga. Dance under the sun, feel the earth below. Momma Braga, Momma Braga.
Hi, I'm Melanie for Momma Braga Unfiltered. Our guest today is an artist and producer like no other. JCT isn't just making tracks, he's building a universe. A Luso-Canadian artist and producer, he blends Portuguese soul with global urban energy, creating a sound that hits hard and feels personal. Known as the Luso King, he's built his career independently. Hundreds of YouTube drops, international collabs, travel content, studio sessions, and anthems that move fans across Portugal, Canada, Brazil, the US, and the Lusophone world. Under JCT he's built a full ecosystem, merch, a beat store, Patreon exclusives, a global fan network, and non-stop new music, including his 2026 single, Meu Amor. He's not following a lane, he's building one. That's why he's here on Momma Braga Unfiltered, a creator with heart, heritage, and unstoppable drive. JCT is dreaming big, and the world is tuning in. Welcome.
Thank you. That's quite an intro.
Very long. I'm so sorry. It's just
okay.
We've done so much, so to put it all in something small was hard. I didn't want to lose some of the important parts.
It's all good. I actually, you know what? Just listening to you, yeah. Sometimes it's crazy. I feel like I've done nothing, right? And it's always when I talk to other people that they remind me, you've done this and you're doing that, and it's like, sometimes it's hard to believe. Sometimes, all the work we put in and put out so far. So yeah, quite an intro. Thank you for that. I appreciate the kind words.
Oh, no problem. I feel honored that you're on my show.
No, it's my honor. Thank you.
Portuguese supporting Portuguese, or I guess
Exactly.
Luso-Canadian supporting Luso-Canadian, right?
Totally.
So I have a question right off the bat. So you call yourself the Luso King. What does that title represent for you as a Luso-Canadian artist?
That's a great question. Honestly, I've been doing this now for 30 plus years, and I started by doing a lot of shows in the Portuguese community. I always did Portuguese music. In fact, my English stuff didn't start coming out until probably 2017 or 2018, right? And so everybody knew me as that. They just knew me as que vai fazer dispensas ou festas português, called Joe. And so that was like my thing. And then when after I dropped my first couple of singles, I didn't have to, but I wanted to come up with a tagline, something that was unique and synonymous to me, right? And so I played with a few different ideas, and that's the one that stuck. It felt right. It felt like me, and it goes well with with JC, and so it rhymes and it works, and that's what it is.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. I was like, oh, I'm intrigued by this Luso King. Let me find out.
I think it's important to kind of honor yourself and who you are, and it's also about me honoring my path and my journey, how I got here. It's been a long path, sometimes I forget, where I came from and where it all started. And so it's about me honoring myself and respecting myself and just giving myself the credence and, maybe the belief spiritually that, okay, that we're here now, this is who you are, own it, and just run with it.
And we talked a little bit before we started this, so I'm gonna ask, what does JCT stand for?
It's just the initials to my name, Joe Carlos Terceira, right? So as I was telling you before, most people who know me, they know me as JC. And then when I was coming up with ideas to, you want to have a brand. This is all about building a brand. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stick, again, try to be authentic. It's who I am, JCT. Anybody that knows me personally knows what that means. Obviously for you and for people that are just kind of getting to know me, they see the initials and they're like, what is this? It's did he grab 3 initials out of the alphabet and slap them together? Just the initials to my name.
Yeah, I did figure it would be like related to your name, but it's like I'm just gonna ask. You know,
That's all good.
some people may not put like two and two together, so I
Right.
help them to put it together. I did see in, and I could be wrong. You started at the age of 9.
I did, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was really young. So I said the story 1,000 times, and I'll kind of give it to you as well. So my family, my parents' family, they come from San Miguel, from Hotpage there. They do the
Mhm.
Spanish there. I don't know if you know what it is, but every
Yes.
year they do like these big parties on the streets. And long story short, my grandfather came one year for Christmas, and he brought these video cassettes with him. And I saw a bunch of kids playing the accordion, right? So I fell in love with it right away. And so the next day, him and my dad went to Galleria Mall at that time, way back in the day, and they bought me an accordion. And my grandfather picked it out, and my dad paid for it and whatever. And so he brought it home. And I was like shocked, and I took it in right away. As soon as I grabbed it, they say, oh, you had it in your blood, right? And so I grabbed it, and right away my grandfather noticed that, okay, he's got something, and he told my dad, he's like, maybe you should think about putting your kid in school. And so I went to school for like 3 years at Galleria Mall. I was
Mhm.
learning theory and musical instruments and reading books and just everything that comes with music. And then I did that really young. And at the time that I was going to school, I was already doing shows. So once I started playing the accordion at 9 years old, within like 6 months, they flew me already to Portugal. So I went there for 3 days. I think, if I remember correctly, I think we flew out of here on a Thursday night, and I went and performed over the weekend over there. And then I literally flew back on a Monday. It was like 3 days. And with the time difference, I remember I slept for like 18 hours after I got back
Oh
because I was
my
so, like,
goodness.
9 years old. I was
Yeah.
so out of it. I wasn't used to it. Right. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how it got started. That's how I
Yeah.
started with the accordion. It kind of evolved from there.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you still play the accordion?
I don't on a regular basis. It's I've got a line around, but it's like riding a bike, right? You never forget. Last year I was in Portugal, and I dabbled with it a little bit because I was there for the shows. And every once in a while I'll pick it up and just kind of mess around with it a little bit, but I don't do it on a regular basis. I could just recreate all the sounds now, with the gear I have in the studio, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. So how has it been growing up between Portugal and Canada? How has it shaped your voice, your hustle, and your creative identity?
Uh, it has, because I was born here in Toronto. I went to school here. But I've been back home, half dozen times, and I call it back home because my soul feels at home there. Right, the
Hmm.
bulk of my family is there. Like, my mom, I think, has 9 or 10 brothers and sisters, and there's like 60 cousins there. And so when I'm there, I feel at home there. And in fact, I got the craziest story to tell you, that I didn't realize that I was actually a Portuguese citizen, and I'll get to that in a minute. And
Oh,
so, yeah, so, and because I've gone there to do shows, that has helped me incorporate that sound and that vision, so to speak, into my music, right? So it definitely plays a huge part, and I want to be different, and I also want to, again, honor myself, honor my path, my journey, who I am, where I've come from, and the people that have supported me. I can tell you that for the longest time, I didn't believe in myself as much as I should have. And there's always been people that are like, you got to do this. You got to just put out your music. You've got good music. You've got great sound. It's unique. And I'm like, whatever. And, I would be like, you guys are talking shit. And I just ignore it. And so now that I'm fully invested in it, I just try to, like, again, honor who I am, where I've come from, and more to that, just speak to all the people who believed in me maybe before I even believed in myself. I have a lot of supporters in Portugal. They listen to all my stuff, and whenever I'm back, I'm going to be back there soon again, and so I already know when I get there. They're always playing my music. We drive in the car, and I'm like, just turn this shit off. I hear it all the time. I don't want to hear it, but it's their way of supporting it, and that's great, and I love it.
yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You brought it up, so now I'm gonna go into this before we touch upon that you're a Portuguese citizen without even knowing. But
Yeah.
I heard from a little birdie in San Miguel that one of your dreams is to start doing concerts in the Azores. Has this dream started to take shape?
It has, yeah. I've been approached a few times, and actually, I'm going to be back there soon, and we've talked about doing it. But there's a lot of things that have to come together, right? For me, it's important for me, again, to honor myself, honor my journey, and obviously, there's a lot of negotiation that has to happen behind the scenes, right? So if things work out, great. I'm sure they will, whether it's this year, next year, whenever it is. I've done shows there in the past, but just now when I'm going back there, I'm looking at some different things in terms of doing shows. Before I would take any show, free shows, I really wouldn't care. And now, obviously, there's a lot of expenses involved when you're going back there, right? There's
Yeah.
travel costs, hotels, cars, all the other stuff that comes with it. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to see that news pop up because then I'll
Yes.
share with everybody I know.
Yes, yes. In fact, if you want to know the truth, I'm working on some stuff quietly. So if
Good.
and when it does happen, it's probably going to come out of left field. It's just the way I like to do things. It won't be announced. It'll, if it goes the way that I want it to go, it'll be, we've got a surprise for everybody. Somebody's here from Canada, and that's kind of the way I want to do it. I don't want to have it. I don't want to advertise it and promote it. I just kind of want it to be a surprise because, again, I want to honor the people that I have there, my family, my friends, everybody who's believed in me, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, how did the whole Portuguese citizenship come up without you knowing? Like this
It's
is
great. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'll try to give you like the short version of it. So I was there last year, and I've been thinking about getting my Portuguese citizenship for a long time. And so when I was there last year, my parents were there, and obviously because my parents are from there, in order to get Portuguese citizenship, you got to get their paperwork, their marriage certificates, all that jazz. And so I had heard that when you like, if your parents are from there and you go there to do it, it actually speeds up the process of getting the actual citizenship. If I were to do it here in Toronto, I think it takes like 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
And so before I had gone there last year, I went through the whole process here with the ministry of getting my birth certificate and all that stuff that comes with it. And then when I was there, I went with my parents to the Câmara, to the municipal Câmara, right? And so I walk in and I go with them. I give all the papers, and in Portuguese, they're like, "Oh, senhora, senhor, we can't help you. You have to get this done in Lisboa." And so I was going to Lisboa 2 weeks after. I'm like, okay, I'll handle it while I'm in Lisboa. So I went to Lisboa. Went there to the city again, and they told me we can't help you. You have to do it in Toronto because your birth certificate, you didn't get it notarized in Toronto before you came. So I was already thinking to myself, what kind of monkey business is this, right?
Yeah.
And so I finished my trip while I was in Lisbon. I had booked an appointment here at the consulate because you have to book in advance. I'm like, let me book it now while I'm here in Lisbon. And then when I get back, I could just stop in quickly. And so literally like 3 days after I got back, I went to the Portuguese consulate downtown. And so I sit down, and the lady looks at my driver's license, and she sees my birthday, April 7th. And she's like, oh my God, my birthday's on April 7th too. And I'm like, okay, this must be a good thing. It must be a good omen, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, sit down. We're going to go through the process of doing the paperwork. And so I give her all the paperwork, and then she's like, where's your application? I'm like, what application? They didn't tell me I needed an application.
Yeah.
You said to bring this paperwork. And so she's like, oh my God, we only have 15 minutes. You give me your birth certificate, I'll start putting it in the system, and you start filling in the application while I'm doing this, right? And this is all in Portuguese.
Yeah.
And so I start doing it, and then about like literally 3 minutes into it, she's like, Joe, você tem que parar. And in my head, I'm like, você me tá brincando comigo que é? Like, what's going on here? She's like, you have to wait a minute. And she stops me there. She goes into another room, and she comes back about 5 minutes later. She's like, okay, I have good news and I have bad news. And she's like, what do you want first? I'm like, give me the bad news first. And she's like, I'm sorry, but we can't complete your application today. And I was like, okay, are you guys like playing a game with me? I've been to 3 different places, you know what I mean? Nobody can do it. And she's like, the good news is because you're a Portuguese citizen, and you have been since 1983.
Oh, wow.
And I look at her, I'm like, what? How? And she's like, apparently when you were born, 1 year after you were born, your parents came here, and because when the kid is born within 2 years, it's quick.
Oh, okay.
And I've never known. And so I look at this lady, I'm like, this is the best gift I literally like ever received from anybody in my life. Like, you telling me I'm a Portuguese citizen for the last 40 years and I didn't know. I'm like, that explains a lot. And so that's why when I go there, now I look back and I'm like, maybe that's why I feel like I'm at home. I have a citizenship just like anybody who's born there.
Yeah. I think it's because you're so connected to your roots. You've never forgotten where, your family came from.
Totally.
I think like you're very connected, which is why I admire you, and that's why I'm so excited to have you on, because you are so connected to the roots, and I love that. We need more people like that.
Totally.
Right.
Especially in our generation. I feel like maybe we're losing a little bit of that. I always say we're losing it, but I feel like there's a point when the shift happens for us Portuguese people. Like we look at our parents who go to these Portuguese events and stuff, and we're like, oh, this is boring and stuff. But I feel like we all hit that age where we want to get that culture back in us, and then it changes, and then you start to love the fado, and you start to love, the Portuguese associations and the cultural centers and all the stuff that comes with it. So I wish we did it younger. I feel like a lot of us could help our culture more by doing it younger because we have a big voice. But it's important for us for sure.
Yeah. I think I need to start going to more festas and bring my daughter with me because she
Exactly.
loves it.
You have to, the reason why I love it so much is because I was exposed to it from so small, right? Like I
Yeah.
was at 9 years old, I was doing shows. Sometimes we'd sell at a hall 1,000 people, right? And it was
Oh,
all Portuguese
wow.
people, dancing and all the Portuguese music at the time, which was, Roberto Leal and Marco Polo and, that's what I grew up with, right? And so yeah, if we did a better job, I think with our kids, when they're younger, maybe we wouldn't have that difficulty trying to integrate them into the culture, especially between like 20 and 40. I think that's where we kind of a lot of us are off doing our own life, and we kind of forget about that at that age.
So, what part of your Portuguese heritage shows up the most in your music or in your creative process, or both?
Both, for sure, both. But right, because first comes the music, right? Like everything builds around the music. Now, in saying that, sometimes when I'm doing the music, I already have my mind on what's coming after, like the videos and the promo stuff. And so that's just me naturally. I multitask that way. I'm kind of putting out, 10 different fires all at once. But both of them, for sure, they show up in both the music and the creative process.
Yeah, that's great. You keep dropping new. So I also saw you dropped a 4-track demo CD in the 2000s,
Early 2000s, yeah,
early 2000s, and then you took a 10-year break,
I did.
and then you returned, and you're constantly releasing something new.
Yeah, pretty
Single,
much. Pretty
single.
much. Yes.
And that change with just singles is because of the day and age that we're in, right? Do you find it's better that way, just
It
singles
is.
like a whole track?
It is. Well, I did come out with an album now too, Luso King album, right? And actually I dropped that first in the islands last year when I was there. So when I put it out, that was the first place that I put it out there last year. And again, just trying to honor myself and
Yeah.
my journey, right? And so but that album is just a culmination of, I think 16 tracks or 17 tracks that I had put out as singles, right? I just
Yeah.
wanted to put it on a CD that again, people back there they don't use a lot of the Spotify and the iTunes. A lot of people there, they're still using their CD players in their cars, and they listen to a lot of radio, and they use YouTube a lot. And so that was my idea. Okay, let's take 16 or 17 of the singles that I put out so far, put them on a CD so that people there can listen to. And now it is available here, and in fact, you can buy it pretty much from anywhere in the world, and we ship it worldwide. But that's the idea, is just to do singles, right? And it's going to continue to be. It doesn't mean that I won't drop an album or um they call it an EP. I don't know that I'd call it an EP anymore because I've got 20 some odd singles out already, but you never know, right? Like this business is constantly evolving, ideas are constantly changing. We'll see where the chips land.
Yeah. So you have a unique sound, not because of just like it blends Latin pop, reggaeton,
Yes.
kuduro. Am I saying that
A
right?
little bit of Kuduro, yeah.
Yes, hip hop and dance.
Yes.
How did you carve out your lane in such a global mix? Because that is very unique.
It's tricky, right? Because people have tried it before, and they'll try it after. I just think that my sound, both in terms of my music and my voice itself, it just lends itself well to all of those. Like I can rap, I can sing rap, I can speak a little Latin, and just the sound of my voice, the tone of my voice lends itself well to the melodies and the harmonies that you hear often in reggaeton and Latin pop and hip hop. They're really you're not really using tones in hip hop. It's more rappy. It's more speaking tones. And so I can do that too. I don't do much of it, and so it just naturally felt like it was a fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like I was trying to force a square screw into a round, nut. It just came naturally, and it just sounded right and felt right. And so that's what I've run with. And obviously with the feedback that I get from people who listen, they tell me the same thing. It's unique, right? You don't really
Mhm.
hear a lot of it. And I just try to stick to, again, who I am and what I do, and that's what makes me unique.
Yeah. And I like it. Before our interview, as I was cooking dinner, I was dancing to so I'm like, oh, this is a new song, but it's not new. It's new for me, but I think you released it a few years ago, a few of the songs that I am following you on Spotify. So anything you
Awesome.
drop, I'll
Thank you.
see it.
Thank you.
And there was one song that came out, Bailão, I think it's
All right.
called.
Ubayu?
Ubailu or so, yes, that came on, and I'm like, wow, this is like what I would hear at the festas, the Portuguese
Yes.
festas. So that like brought so many childhood memories, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. So like you even bring that, I don't want to say old school Portuguese, but that real Portuguese music to now. Like I really like that song. That was
It's
one of my
it's one of my favorites. I tried to stick when I did that song, I tried to stick to the traditional sense that we're
Mhm.
normally used to hearing it. So you hear the accordion, you hear the trincadeiras, again the tones and the melodies that I used. But in saying that, without giving out too much info, I've been working on that for about 5 years. That track.
Oh wow.
And I've been trying to fuse that uniquely with something that hadn't worked up
Mhm.
until recently. And so what I did was a couple years ago, I'm like, you know what? It hasn't worked the way that I wanted to fuse it, but I am going to put something out organically and more traditional, so that at least something is out while I'm still trying to fuse this together.
Yeah.
And probably about, I wouldn't say, 2 months ago, we were finally able to, like, I think we got it. Like, I was able to fuse it, and I took what we've done in the traditional way for the last 50, 100 years, and I fused it with
Yeah.
something a little bit unique and different. And so that'll be dropping this year. I'm really excited for that. And I can tell you, while trying to say this humbly, it's nothing like anything you've heard of. It's going to be very unique. And again, just trying to, honor myself and my journey and my path, while still trying to keep it traditional for the people
Yeah.
who are used to that. And so, yeah, it's that'll be really cool. I'm really excited for that project.
Oh, so am I. I can't wait to hear it.
It's really cool. It sounds. I don't normally listen to a lot of my own music. I just
Yeah.
don't. That one I have for sure.
When you start a new track, what usually leads the way? Is it the beat, the melody, the story, or the emotion?
Honestly, every project is different, right? Like,
Okay.
I have a huge catalog of beats, and so like sometimes I'll just get in the studio and I'm listening to a beat, and then something clicks in terms of like a harmony, or something will click in terms of like a saying, or two lines of vocals, and so I'll just run with that, and I'll build off of the beat, and then sometimes I'll be somewhere and something will hit me in the moment in terms of like a saying or a chorus or a hook, and there's no music around it. It's just the hook itself. And so I'll make a voice note of that in my phone, and then I build her off I build around and off of that. And then other times it's a story. Like there's another track I've literally been working on for 5 years, and it's about me dying. Right? It's me singing the song after I've died. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so that was the story. That was the premise for the song first. And then kind of came all the lyrics and the music around it. So we've been working hard to kind of put that whole story together. But in doing that, I'm also trying to be cognizant of like when we shoot the video, because when you're writing the vocals have to lend themselves, and the lyrics have to lend themselves to the video, and so that maybe that's why it's taken a little bit longer, right? And so each project honestly is really different. It's like asking an artist who paints, do you start with a background or do you start with your main subject,
Yeah.
right? And each project, each painting is going to be different, right? It's what you're feeling in the moment, and you run with what you're feeling.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's the creative process. Depends on
Right.
the project. Yeah.
Right.
So you've built your career brick by brick. What kept you going on the days when the grind felt heavier than the dream?
You know, when I took the 10 years off, I kind of fell out of love with it. And I think maybe it's because I got lost in the sauce a little bit, and then lost in all
Mhm.
the extracurricular noise outside. And then I realized when I came back that you have to love what you're doing, right? I do this because it's who I am. Like when I'm making new music, I'm thinking of my cousins and I'm thinking of my friends and people that have known me for a long time that listen to my stuff. And I just had a friend who called me up. He did a show about 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "Joe, I was going on stage to perform, and one of your buddies came, and he's like, hey, do you know my buddy Joe?" Right? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I wasn't even there, but he literally called me the next day. He's like, I'm going on stage to perform my show, and your buddy shows up. He's like, hey, do you know my friend Joe? He's got a studio and all this stuff. And so that's why I do it, right? And I think maybe before I took those 10 years off, I lost that. I lost the love for doing it. I started to get lost in all the outside noise, right? And so now that's why I do it. I don't focus on streams. I don't focus on views. I don't focus on people patting me on the back or validation or any of that bullshit. I do this because I'm in love with it again. I'm at peace with it again. I'm not fighting it. And so that's why I do it. Everything else, honestly, is just gravy. It's just a bonus.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good
Right?
mindset to have, for
Because
sure.
if you get lost in the outside noise where it's like, okay, I dropped a song, I only got 3 streams, I should quit, right? Because if that's
Mhm.
your bar and that's your metric, you're going to, because
Yeah.
you're not getting that validation or whatever it is, right? And so because that's not mine, that's not my end goal, I'm able to consistently and constantly put out new stuff and do new stuff, because anything that comes after that is just a bonus, right? Just the fact that I'm back in doing again and allowing myself to enjoy the process again, for me, is everything.
Yeah. That's great. That's a really good mindset to have, and I'm glad that you mentioned that too, so that people can learn from that, because a lot of people do get lost and then they set these bars that are unrealistic, and then they feel defeated. But if you love what you do, that's why you should be doing it, for the love.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's great. You've touched a few times in the interview about, representing your culture, your heritage. What does it mean to you to represent the Lusophone community on a global stage?
It's huge. It's huge, right? Like it's weird because I've done probably more shows here in the Western Hemisphere in terms of Canada and the US, but I get way more support in Europe. And I don't know why. I know why, but then I don't know why I don't get
Mhm.
that much support here, which is, it's crazy, but it is what it is, right? I've never been a mainstream artist, so maybe that's part of the reason why. I've always been underground, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not complaining, because it's allowed me to work more on my creative process again without worrying about all the other outside noise. And so for me, because of that, that is why I think I'm able to just allow myself to get lost in our culture and get lost in all the things that matter in our culture. And I don't care what people are going to say or the opinions they're going to have. I just do what I'm feeling in the moment. And if it's cool,
Mhm.
it's cool. And if it's not, it's not. And if you like it, you do. And if you don't, you don't. Like, we're all kind of doing our own thing. And so that is huge for me, right? I don't know that it was as much when I first started coming out with my stuff mainstream. And then I had a conversation with my dad, and he's like, you got to get back to the Portuguese stuff. I'm like, why? He's like, because that's who you are. That's what people know.
Oh, that's sweet.
Right. And so then, I took some time and I marinated with all that, and he was right. That's who I am. I'm never going to be Drake. I'm not, I'm never going to be those guys. This is who I am. I got to be who I am. And I think that authenticity is what people feel and what they see in my music and
Yeah.
in my videos, because I'm just trying to be as authentic as I could possibly can. And maybe for some people it's too much, others it might not be enough, whatever. But that's me. And so that's why I think it's important to kind of like, the culture is huge for me. I'm always
Yeah.
thinking about it.
You mentioned your dad. So I have to say, because I'm Mama Braga, what do your parents say about your music and what you're doing? They must be proud, like they have to be.
Totally. They are. They're my parents are they're old school, but they tell me all the time, keep going, just
Yeah.
keep going, right? Because they read stuff, they see stuff. It's hard sometimes when you're doing this, in the public sense. People have opinions, and so they'll see stuff and they'll read stuff, but they just tell me, just keep going, just keep doing what you do, and
Well, that's
people are going to like you and people are not going to like you, but just keep
yeah.
doing what you do, right? And so honestly, I've done a lot of work in terms of like trying to block out all the other outside noise, and in fact, when I go there, we barely ever talk about my music, just
Oh,
because it's something I've always done since I was a kid, right?
yeah.
right? Like if it was something new, maybe I could see them, constantly talking about it. But it's just when they see me, that's what they see. My dad still sees the same kid he was driving to school every Friday to
Yeah.
Galilee Mall. He
Yeah.
doesn't see the guy on the video with the girls dancing, and that's not what he sees, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just comes naturally. And honestly, we don't spend much time talking about it. When we're together, we talk about family stuff and family bullshit.
Yeah. That's so good though. That's so nice because sometimes parents are not as supportive, especially if it's in a creative type of job. But it sounds like it's your roots, and they've been
Totally.
so supportive of you. So that's so great.
Even when I took 10 years off, my dad would constantly approach me, be like, "Hey, some guy came to me, wants you to do a show. Do you want to do it?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm out. Tell these
Yeah.
guys I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with this no more." And
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad because a lot of the shows that we were doing were for like the church or Espírito Santo, and I hate saying no, but it just in that moment I just wasn't in love anymore with it, and I didn't want it anymore, right? And so I had to say no a lot. You know what I mean? So even when I took that time off, he was always still trying to, like, maybe it was his way of trying to get me to come back in. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he was bothered by the fact that at that time he took me to school and watched me kind of evolve into what I evolved in, and then I kind of threw it all away. And so maybe that was his way of trying to, maybe instigate or trigger me into getting back into the space, right? But it happened on its own naturally anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your dad sounds adorable.
Thank you. No,
So you did, it was last year.
yeah,
You were interviewed by, oh my God, let me try to say it. Radio Atlantida.
yeah.
And it was,
Radio Atlantida.
oh, see, I struggled, and I did a commercial for them too. And it took me forever to say the name. You were interviewed by Margarida, but we call her Gida. And then when I told her I was interviewing you, she's like, "Oh, can you ask a question?" And I said, "Oh, sure, ask." So she wanted to know, and I don't know if she's asked you, have you ever worked with any Azorean artist?
I'm actually working with one right now, a few right now, actually.
Oh, see?
I have, yeah. So when I was there last year, actually, that's part of the reason why I was there in the islands is because I was already working with some artists from both the islands and mainland, and so I went there to conduct some business and wrap up some,
Mhm.
some affairs there. And so some of that stuff will start to come probably this year.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
look at
right,
that
right
family
on cue.
connection. That family connection, see?
Yeah.
Oh, we're all connected in some way.
Right. When you told me, I was like, wow, that's such a small world. Here I was half a world away, meeting with another presenter on the radio, and then you told me you guys are cousins, and so
Yes, first cousins.
first cousins too, eh?
Not second, third, first.
Awesome, man. Totally go back. It's changed a lot. I've been going there for 30 years. And I remember when I went there when I was 9 years old, I remember, telling my parents I don't think I remembered, I think there was only like one major highway at that time that, ran through the whole island. There was like nothing else. And now,
Mhm.
like before, if you wanted to go from where we are in Haftpage to Nordash, which is the whole other side of the island, on the north side of the island, you have to take all these different roads, and they built a whole road that literally where you can just like you would shorten the trip from like 2 hours, and now you can get there in like 25 minutes, half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so, the roads are changing, the movement is changing, the people that are coming, there's a lot of people coming from outside who are like, especially a lot of German people who are coming from Germany, they're retired or semi-retired, they're looking for a place to kind of,
Oh, wow. I love
unwind.
that. Yeah.
So there's a lot of real estate development going on there. It's booming. The island is there's a lot of movement there for sure.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. It was already beautiful back then, so I can just imagine how.
It's still beautiful, it's just beautiful with more people now.
Yeah, more development too.
Yeah, yeah.
Not as many cows, maybe, roaming around.
There is, when you get into the farmers like lands. There's still lots of lands like that,
Yeah.
right? But there's a lot more movement. It's just, and with TikTok now, you know what I mean? Like, there's people that go there on a vacation or maybe even a stopover. They're going from the States or from South America to Europe, and they'll stop there because it's in the middle of the ocean, and they'll spend 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then they put it on their Facebook and their TikTok, and then that kind of gets the word out. And there's that saying where it's like the Azores are like the Hawaii of Europe,
Hmm.
right? That's what it's known as. And so I think word is just getting more and more out now because of technology, and hence why it's bringing more and more people in.
Yeah, more tourists too.
Totally.
That's wonderful. So you have done media in the Azores, Portugal, and Canada. What have you been seeing, like the difference between the two countries when they're talking about your music or talking about you? What's the difference? I'm sure there's a difference between the two countries.
There is. Maybe they're more receptive for me there in Portugal, just because I'm an outsider. I'm an outsider doing insider things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I get a lot more. I get a lot more press, a lot more recognition there. But I'm not complaining. I've had my fair share here. Growing up over the last 30 years, right? And so I still get it here. But honestly, my focus really is there. It really is there. You know what I mean? Like that's my movement now. That's my music. Whatever comes from here, great. It's a bonus. But it is different. I get approached here all the time to do shows, but without throwing anybody under the bus, we have a community here where a lot of artists get taken advantage of, right? Like a lot of people put on shows and they'll ask artists to do the shows for free, or they pay them a couple $100 and they're making all this money on the back end, and they're taking advantage of the artists, and that's something I've never allowed.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I'm in a good space that I can say no to those gigs.
Mhm.
And so it's great. Like I get great press in both. I get a lot of support in both, but my focus really is there, and that's why maybe I get more there. It's because that is where my focus is.
Yeah. And you do produce your own music. So is excuse for the question, but is it like a label? Like it's your own label?
Yeah,
So I love that because that gives you full control.
and that's what it's all about for me. It's the control.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So when did that come about? Was it right at the beginning when you started doing music or what?
When I decided to go mainstream, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like when I decided to go mainstream but still keep myself underground, which is it's still my MO right now. Like I'm mainstream, but I'm underground, and I love that, and that's by design. I don't care to be on all the bullshit, the radio, all that crap. I don't care about
Yeah.
that, right? It's a superpower, and it allows me creative control because I can do a lot of stuff without worrying about the outside noise, right?
Hmm.
And so that was the idea: was if I'm going to do this and be true to myself, I have to have creative control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so early on, I did get approached by some big labels who, again, they wanted to sign, and I'm sure they would have done a terrific job in terms of promoting me here in Canada and the U.S. And but it wasn't the right fit, and it wasn't something that for me felt right. And so I just wanted to, maintain my independence, right?
Yeah. I
Because
love that.
the thing I was worried about too was if I had maybe signed, I would have lost my ability to incorporate my culture the way that I do.
Hmm.
Because this isn't, especially here in Canada and the US, it's not as big as it is in Portugal, right? And even Brazil. Like Brazil pushes Portuguese music a lot more than we do here in Canada and the US, right? I mean, sure,
Yeah.
they have 100 million people, but they push more the Portuguese music than we do here. We focus more on the English stuff here, and that's okay, right? And
Hmm.
so that's kind of when I decided to do it was okay, if we're going to go and start putting stuff out publicly, then, I need to have a vehicle in order to do that and to make sure that everything is properly insulated and protected the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I like knowing that. It's like you didn't sell your soul.
That is a good way of putting it. And that's a line I often use, right?
Yeah.
There are people that I know in the business. Again, I've been, at it for 30 years who they've had to, and that's okay. That's what they chose, and that's
Mhm.
their right. And great, to each his own. I'm not complaining, nor am I comparing, but this
Yeah.
is the way it had to be for me. And
Yeah.
that's what works for me. If it was for me to go that way to get famous, I wouldn't have never put out music. I don't care. I never have.
Yeah. And you have built a brand. In the intro, I said JCMTM, like the,
JC7.
oh JC. Sorry. Oh my God, I need glasses. My husband's right. I'm losing my vision. Yes. So the 7 is because you were born on April 7th,
Yeah.
right? There you go. Yes, I've connected the dots. Look at that.
Yeah, the JC for my initials, the 7 because that I was born on the 7th, and it's also my favorite number.
Yeah,
And so that was
number.
exactly, and so that was the whole idea behind it, and so I trademarked that right away. Like
Yeah.
once I decided I was going to put that out, I trademarked that both here in Canada and the U.S., and I own the trademarks for that. And so that was kind of like the idea behind that. Let's start putting out some merch, and it's been good. It's been good, no complaints.
Yeah, so you like that's why I say you built a universe, your own brand and universe and all the right messages. So kudos to you. That is and you're staying true to yourself throughout the whole process. So
Thank you.
that is amazing. What's next? What's the next chapter for you? And what legacy do you hope people will remember of you years from now?
Well, the first part of your question, the next chapter is just for now, just keep doing what I'm doing, keep putting out music. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that if I was looking at this, as like a basketball game, there's 4 quarters in my career. I'm probably in my 3rd quarter now, heading into my 4th quarter. Like things are now on the other side. I'm on the downswing now. Even though I have more coming now, the time that I have left, the hours of the sands of the hourglass, so to speak, I'm more on the downswing of that now. And so as I keep putting out music, I'm now also being focused on more of the business side and what that's going to look like over the next 10 or 15 or 20 years, right? And so those conversations are starting to happen. And I'm sure that once I stop putting out as much of my own music, I think I'll start to focus on other artists in our community where I can maybe help them kind of, find their own voice and their own path and in their own way, in a way that allows them to be unique to themselves.
Yeah.
Because again, I have that unique ability, and I have that experience in doing it for myself, that I also think I can help other people who want to go that route as well. Not everybody wants to sell their soul.
Yeah.
There's people who still want to do the music for the music of it all. And
Mhm.
so I think for the right fit, there will be people, and there have been, again, those conversations have started happening, that I will be able to help do that and go that route and still remain true to themselves. And so that's what I kind of see what the future will hold, in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And in terms of legacy, people are going to remember the music they're hearing now, but the people that know me the best are going to remember the stuff I did when I was a kid. And so that's what I want to be remembered as. I want to be remembered as this guy didn't do music because he cared about anything other than, this is the same guy I saw when he was 12 years old at a show in Scarborough. That's
Yeah.
Joe. Like, I saw him with an accordion. He was putting on a big show. He had the little, fascia wrapped around him. That's
Yeah.
what I want to be remembered as. It wasn't, this guy has, I have a saying actually for somebody in the business, George Fajeda, who I admire tremendously, because it is very difficult to maintain a career for that long in this
Mhm.
business. Like, he's been doing it 40 years plus.
And he's well respected.
And he's well respected. And so that would kind of be like what I'm after. An overnight success where I blow up, and I don't care about that. I want to be like, again, in 20 years, where I maybe I'm going to a Portuguese festa as, just as a bystander. I'm going there to enjoy some other artist who's performing. It'd be nice that people come up to me like, hey, I watched you 40 years ago at a show in Scarborough or Mimico or wherever, right? And so that's what I want to be remembered as. The music stuff, like I always say, it's just a bonus. It's just gravy.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Is there, in the next chapter, are there any artists in particular that you're hoping to collaborate with?
Yeah, I'd love to collaborate more with both in Latin America, which I've done quite a bit already, and even more so in the Azores and the mainland. It's tricky, right? Because, again, without throwing anybody under the bus, a lot of these artists are signed to labels, and it's difficult to negotiate with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm independent, and so a lot of things have to align in order to work. Because when you're signed to a label, it's a whole different process. It's a whole different animal. They have money invested, and they have time invested in these artists, and they kind of have a vision that they want the artist to go. And so sometimes it's difficult for them to allow the artist, to kind of deviate from that a little bit. In fact, I'm working with an Italian artist here in Canada on some freestyle stuff, long story short. And we have to put our project on hold because she's signed to a label that prohibits her from negotiating or entering into anything contractually with another artist for a certain period of time, while this project that she's working on with that label comes out and comes to fruition. And so our project is on hold because I have to let that clause in that contract expire before she's free to sign, even though we wouldn't be signing her exclusively, the contract that she is signed to is exclusive, that prohibits her from doing anything else,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And so that's where it gets a little bit tricky, right? Especially when you get into like mainland Portugal, there's a lot of artists there that are signed to a lot of the big labels, and so they have a lot of say in what the artist can do and can't do.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I've touched upon what I have written down to make sure I wouldn't forget, because I'm aging, so I forget a lot of things. Is there anything else that you want to touch upon before I do my rapid questions? Because I like to end on a fun note and do rapid questions.
No, not really. I mean, you asked a lot of questions. I tried to be as transparent as I could and give you, some, honest answers, and
Oh, you're fantastic.
a deep dive into kind of like my mind process and my thought process and how I do things and why I do things. And so maybe it sounds like I'm rambling on, but I just try to be like open with people, because people are watching, and there may be somebody watching who kind of wants to go that route as well. And I want them to understand that they can do it too. It really depends. Like I said before, there's 100 ways to skin a cat, right? So
Yeah.
you have to kind of pick, okay, who do I want to be? What do I want to be? And then choose your lane and choose how you're going to go about that, right? And you have to be willing to spend the next 25 years of your life chasing it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always tell people is, you have to plan for today, but you have to say, okay, this is what I'm going to spend the next 25 years of my life doing, regardless of what happens. Even if you spend the next 25 years of your life doing it and you get no results, you have to be invested in, I'm going to see this through, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you have that mentality and you have that approach, good things happen.
Yeah. Well, that's a great piece of advice for anybody looking to pursue a career in I like to call it the creative arts.
Yes. I
Right?
agree with that. I
I think
totally agree with
it's
that.
a beautiful way to encompass it all, because you do it all.
It could be anything creative. And technology is changing what we think of creative now. Like, now you can be creative by pushing prompts on the computer.
Mhm.
Like, you hear some of the music that's coming out now with some of these AI apps, and it's wild. Like, I've started to dabble with some of the stuff that would take me hours upon hours on hours to do. I can literally give it a prompt, because I kind of know what I want and what I
Yeah.
give it a prompt and push a button, and out it comes. And so I think that's also opening another door to a lot of other different types of creative people who maybe they're very smart intellectually, but they don't know the music side of it, right? But because they have that intellect, they can go and use generative AI to help them with some ideas that they have, but they don't know how to see that idea through, because maybe they don't, maybe they don't know how to read a music note, or they don't know how to listen to a note and know where that, what note it is, right? And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of creative stuff, I think, and it's only getting better and better every single day. Like, you look at some of the tools, it's crazy what's happening right now.
Oh yeah, it's definitely changing the landscape of the world we live in. That's for sure.
Right. Even like video editing, right? Like, you can take a video like this and where you're recording, and you can go into an AI and tell it, okay, these are give it the prompts that you want the video editing to be done. And it does it all for you. Like, before, you'd have to have somebody sitting in front of a computer for hours, cutting and pasting and slicing and dicing and
What I do.
right. You want to look at some AI tools. They'll help.
A lot of them, because I've been told, yeah, try the AI stuff, and I'm like, oh, but everything costs money. I don't have money to do that yet.
Right.
So I am the AI. So I've had someone who's like, oh, who writes your questions and who writes your intros? Is that AI? I said, no, that's me. I don't want to give AI my job. Okay, that's my job to do.
Right.
So
But I
yeah.
also think it's better when we do it ourselves first, right? Because when you
Yes.
learn how to do it yourself first and then you start to integrate I think you have a secret weapon now,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not like somebody who's going into it with intellect but doesn't understand music, or somebody who's going into it with intellect but doesn't understand video editing, or
Mhm.
formatting an episode, right?
Yeah.
You know how to do both, and so by doing that, I think it gives you a secret weapon where when you do start to use AI at some point, whenever that is, I think it's going to make your workflow a lot easier.
Oh, that would be nice. Let's see. The future is bright.
The future is definitely bright.
Yeah. So now it's time for my favorite part of the show, my rapid questions. Um,
Uh-oh. Am I in trouble here? Am I in
no, no.
trouble?
Oh my God, everyone says that. Maybe I should rename it something else. But
I'm okay. I'm an open book, but
because this is season 2, I even created a logo for rapid fire questions with Momma Braga. They're fun. I try to I cater the questions depending on my guests. So, and
I'm
everyone,
intrigued.
pardon?
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Okay. Let's hope I don't disappoint. Okay, number 1. Pastel de nata or queijada, whatever you would like to call it. People call it different things. Or poutine. What's the real comfort food king?
Damn, that's a good question. So, pastel de nata or a poutine?
Yes, because you're Portuguese.
But okay, I'm gonna say poutine because I love poutines. But if you had said like pastel de nata or a malasada, they're both kind of sweets, right? So.
Oh yes, but I'm trying to play on the Portuguese.
I'll go with the poutine.
The poutine there.
I love poutines.
Any particular place that you recommend for a good poutine?
No, I mean you can get a poutine anywhere. In fact, I just got one at a shawarma place. Laziz. I tried a poutine from there for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good.
Oh wow! See.
And so, but you can get a poutine almost anywhere now, right?
I know. I've heard that Montreal has the best.
They do, and the best poutines there I've ever had come off a truck.
Oh wow! See, look at that.
They have all these trucks like on the side of the road down if you go downtown Montreal. And it's literally they and I think they actually have a poutine fest there. I might have been there for one year for a poutine fest where it's literally like truck after truck and they do like poutines and it's all types of poutines.
That sounds
so yeah, poutine.
Yummy. Yeah. Number 2, if you could teleport to any Lusophone country right now for one night, where would you be landing?
Boy, that's a tough question. Obviously I always go back to like the Azores. I love going there, but there's so many other places I'd really like to visit. I think like there's colonies in India, like Goa. There's Mozambique in Africa.
Yeah.
There's another one in Asia. I forget the name.
Macau.
Macau, yes. Would love to go to Macau one day. Right? So give me any one of those 3.
Oh, see, that's good. Yeah.
Right? Because you're talking about teleporting. I can go to the Azores anytime. I just get on a plane. But if you're going to teleport me, give me one of those 3.
Yeah. And that's unique. Not many people forget about those places. But yeah, there are Portuguese roots there.
Yeah, big colonies there.
Yeah. I remember all the names because my Portuguese took Portuguese class till grade 8, so I had to know them.
Right.
Perfect. Number 3, studio vibe check. Lights low and moody or bright and high energy? What's the mood when you're in the studio?
That's a great question. It depends on what time I'm there. If it's like during the day, I don't mind the lighting. If it's late night, because I spend a lot of time in the studio late night, 3, 4, 5 a.m., definitely mood lighting.
Oh, very nice. That's really late.
I've slept in the studio a few times.
Oh, I can imagine.
If you haven't done that, you're not a real artist.
Of course, you can't be. Okay, number 4. What's one Portuguese phrase you think the whole world should learn?
That's easy. Vá para caralho.
See, I think that's the first phrase everyone learns.
That's the best one. It's just, you just tell people, hey, take a hike, go fly a kite.
Love it. We should get you a shirt saying that.
I would love that. Yes.
So with your branding right at the back.
Yeah, totally.
Or the front and the other way.
Or no branding. Just give me a shirt that says that. I'll wear that proud.
Okay, perfect. And then number 5, if JC7, the trademark, had a signature emoji, what would it be and why?
It would be the ram with the horns, my logo.
Oh, very nice.
Right, that's my logo. That's what 100% it would be, because that's it's symbolic of me. It just represents who I am and kind of how I do things. I go into everything with head first. I'm a thinker, right? So I'm constantly processing. My mind's a supercomputer, and so I can be in a room sitting at a table with 10 people talking about the Blue Jays, and my mind processing 4 different lines here in the studio, and nobody has any clue that that's happening in real time. Like,
oh wow, look at that.
And so that's just kind of my nature, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the 100%. That would be the emoji.
Well, the ram, like the
ram, yeah.
animal.
If you've seen the logo, I have the ram with the
Yeah.
horns, the pointy horns. 100%. That would be it.
My husband has a ram tattoo on his arm.
I've got one too.
Oh, see, look at that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. This was great getting to know you a little bit better beyond social media. So thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
So I am Melanie. This is JCT. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Momma Braga wishing you courage to tell your story and joy in every chapter.